Hello, this is Alan Matthews. If you're sitting in an audience listening to a speaker or a presenter, you're engaged in a completely unnatural activity. What I mean by that is your body and your brain are not designed to allow you to sit for long periods doing nothing but listen to someone else speak. And this is something, if you're a speaker or a presenter, you really need to pay attention to, because what you're doing is fighting against biology. People are not built to sit still for long periods. You think what happens if you're not up and moving about? If you sit still at a desk, for instance, if you're working at a desk for a long period, or sitting in a meeting and you're not moving around, there's no oxygen flowing through your body. Well, there's some, but not a lot of oxygen or blood flowing around your body. There's no movement. You sit still, your body starts to sort of slow down, and of course your brain starts to switch off. I mean, you sit down for a few minutes and just look at a plain wall for a while, you'll find that your brain just starts to engage with other things. You start daydreaming, don't you, because there's nothing to hold your attention. So that's what your body and your brain tend to do if you're just sitting still for long periods. Your brain starts to switch off and look for stimuli, and if there aren't enough stimuli outside, it will start to develop its own. That's why you start daydreaming and thinking about other things. Your brain switches off and looks for something else, thinks about something different. That's what you're naturally inclined to do. So as a speaker, you're fighting against that all the time. What can you do about it? Well, the thing is, when else would you find people sitting for quite a long time, quite passive? Well, often if they're watching the television or watching a film or a play, for instance. People might sit for a couple of hours or so watching that. Why does that work? Because they're engaged with it. Not physically engaged necessarily, but there's movement, there's conversation, there's something visual that they can watch. They're engaged with the characters, if it's a film or a television program or a play or something like that. They're following a plot developing along that's engaging them as well. So there's lots of things going on that's keeping their mind active. Even so, you must have been to plays, let's say, or you've watched something on the television or been to the cinema, and if there's a bit of a boring passage, your brain again starts to switch off, doesn't it? I've sat in the theatre sometimes and just sat there and thought, oh, that fire exit's really bright, isn't it, over there? You can see all the fire exits around here. Look at all those. Because the play wasn't holding my attention, and other things start to come to mind. Oh, where should we go after this is finished? Oh, I need to do some shopping tomorrow. You know how your brain switches on to other things as soon as what you're watching ceases to engage you. Again, as a speaker and a presenter, you've got to remember that that's a perfectly natural thing for people to do. So the techniques you need to use are the ones to engage your audience. Have a conversation with them. Give them some action. Show something that's visual as well. A bit of movement involved if possible. Audience participation, interaction with people. Anything that stops them just sitting there for long periods and allowing their brains just to wander off. So as a speaker, as I say, you're fighting against biology. It's not what people are designed to do. So make sure that when you plan your presentations, you're building in lots of different types of engagement. And maybe model your presentation on a good film. Have a story, have some interesting characters, have some conversation, have some plot development, have some character development, all the things that would engage people in a good play, a good television program, a good film. Try and build those things into your presentation so that you can keep people engaged when they're just sitting down for long periods of time.